For today's LOTRO updates, we have a new official forums, and we also have update 35.1.2, which brings the new raid. I know the forums update has been long awaited. I'm super excited to check that out, but first did want to talk about the new update because we have the new 12-man raid that is a part of the current Doom instance cluster, and this will have tiers 1 and tier 2 open already, and then tier 3, 4, and 5 will all be coming later. I also did want to point out, you all have probably noticed there are a whole lot of bugs with the Race of Man update, and there are some fixes to those. I honestly don't know if this will fix everything, but hopefully the experience on them will be better. Oh, and it also looks like, this is important for me to remember, but the next reward track season actually starts in a couple weeks, so May 17th, 10 a.m., and that is server time, which is Eastern time, just for reference. Otherwise, it pretty much just looks like bug fixes. So let's go ahead and move on to the new LOTRO forums. This is the most excited I've actually seen Lexi about any sort of LOTRO update. So what we are looking at here is the new forums in its completely default setting as I just went on here. Hey, you can actually see my name right there in the members online. You can actually see staff online, so you can see what LOTRO developers are on, which is kind of interesting, I suppose. So I'm looking mainly on the right sidebar now. You see latest posts and then also profile updates and all these. It looks like somebody's even trying to maybe form a group for the new raid and different things like that. I like the meow message from them. But I guess I should actually focus on the bulk of the forum and overall look. It looks a little bit funky on the top, but I have to say my first impression of this, I have had a little bit of a preview as I've been getting this video ready, and I have to say it looks a whole lot nicer than the previous one. In fact, I do actually have this for comparison from the Wayback Machine and archive from that of the forums. Unfortunately, I can't actually get to a working thread, but you'll have probably seen the old LOTRO forums and know that it's not particularly great. On top of that, the old LOTRO forums is super slow, so hopefully we'll notice this one is actually faster. All right, so moving on, it looks like on the top bar you have a few different panels. You can go to just new posts. You could actually do that before, and I honestly don't know if you used to be able to have this before, but it looks like you can have your own newsfeed for people that you follow, which is kind of interesting. You can maybe get a list of members here with, I think there are reactions now. It might only be thumbs ups instead of thumbs downs. Also looks like there's solutions kind of like Stack Exchange, potentially, although I'm not 100% sure how that actually works. But anyway, you have that as well as staff trackers like the old dev tracker, so you can see all of the developer posts straight from this. This is very helpful for somebody like me who likes to make videos and keep up with what the developers are saying. In fact, I have not actually seen this coming soon thread because it's just 17 minutes ago, so now I am actually really curious. Oh, this is for PvMP. Unfortunately, that means my interest dwindled way down, but it looks like update 37, they're targeting some PvMP updates with sieges and other things. And then actually some more with update 36 as well. I could potentially dive into that later, but I'll give it a more thorough preview to see if it's worth a video. Anyway, again, I think the overall look of the forums is great. I'm actually going to go back to this same post, and one thing I did want to point out is the background for the text is actually a little bit bright to me for it being a dark background. So it's kind of like a slightly light gray instead of a really dark gray. So I actually use this Chrome plugin. I think it's available on other browsers, but it's basically a dark mode that you can convert any website to dark mode. And with the new LOTRO forums, I actually like having this enabled because it just increases the contrast a little bit between the text and background while also making the text itself a little bit darker. So to me, it's just easier to read and a lot easier on the eyes. You'll also probably notice little things like the boxes around a whole bunch of different things with like the reactions with like and the such and post time and just people's actual message. Those can be a little bit annoying with this off actually, so I will turn that on for the rest of this video. Let me know your thoughts though. Otherwise, I will say the general look of just how the text works and how compact it is actually really nice to me as well. It's, again, I just think an overall huge improvement from the old forums. You probably even noticed, I have noticed at least just navigating, that it's a whole lot faster and a lot more responsive, which is super nice as well. In fact, signing in and registering my account, which we'll get to in a moment, was also like a ton quicker than how long it used to take me to sign in. That was kind of ridiculous. I had to spend probably 2 to 3 minutes usually just to sign into the old forums, and never mind just like navigating to my own profile. But anyway, setting that aside, I just generally like the overall look of the new forums myself. And one thing that's important to me is actually how the forums look on a small narrow window. So one of the things about the old forums is if I just wanted to have a little window kind of above my head like this and out of the way, and I could actually have the game say on the right side of the screen and then have this above my head as I have had with some of the class update videos, it just didn't work well. But now you can actually have a really small window, and the text, the area that it takes up, will scale based on your window size, which is really nice. And I'm assuming this will work on mobile, which, by the way, we're actually going to check this out on my phone in a moment as well. Anyway, we'll go ahead and go back to the default size, which I probably, when typically recording videos, I'd probably zoom into something like 200% here just to make sure everybody can read everything, because it would be kind of small in video format. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that and we can go back home here. So the other thing that I did want to look at was the actual forums that they had, because I believe they did make some changes to just what they have. So for official news and information, that's right at the top, which is a great thing. They have announcement here, service news, release notes and issues, sales and promotion, of course, and then official discussions and developer diaries, which, if I remember correctly, that one was like way outdated on the old forums besides the public event. So it's nice to have that refreshed to me. And then it looks like some general forums for just new player discussion, general discussion, player suggestions, and off topic. And then Borer has nothing, but Borer is after that, and then the game specific forums. It's kind of odd that Borer would be so high here, but I mean, that's just the way it is. Anyway, moving on here, we can look at some of the specific forums. They have gameplay discussion, landscape content, instance content, then character creation and development. The sub forums here, this does include the class forums. For some reason, the Guardian is blank here. That's because there are no threads in the Guardian forums. Kind of surprising considering they're under the works for a revamp right now, but I guess just how it is. Fortunately, it does look like Wardens. I would be embarrassed for all Wardens if there was none here, but thanks to Griffs, they started a muster in the new forums thread. There we go. Good job, Griffs. Okay, that aside, they also have PvMP forums with sub forums, okay, for each server, and then LIs and other rewards. That seems a little bit odd to me that they would just be legendary items and other rewards. It almost seems like you could have gear and maybe LI included in gear. But anyway, from there we have crafting, housing, so other game systems, and then lore and story, and then also audio and soundtrack. I wonder how popular this will be. I know a lot of people like the in-game audio. I just honestly don't know if there will be much discussion about it, but it doesn't really fit anywhere else. And then more of the visuals with game graphics and art. And moving on, for the community forums, they have some on kinships, player events, creator, and makerspace, which I think is the place that I should go as a content creator. Oh, they actually have descriptions here. So place to share and promote your YouTube, Twitch, created artwork, music, podcast, blog, or Discord. And I'm guessing other things. But moving on from here, guides and frequently asked questions, music for in-game bands mainly, I would assume, and then cosmetic appearances, UI, plugins, all that sort of stuff, role-playing, and the professor, oh, for J.R.R. Tolkien, that makes sense. And then moving on, we have the legendary servers. These are actually the game worlds, but legendary servers, then all the other active servers for server specific discussions, and then some player-to-player assistance, so you can report a bug here, as well as get some account technical support and discuss bugs. And then there are some, it looks like, German specific discussion forums, as well as French. I realize I'm going about this kind of oddly, but if we search the forums, it looks like you can have a whole bunch of options to do searches. So I'm guessing this won't turn anything up, but I could search Louis 7. It just says no results found. But if I search Warden, there should hopefully be results. There are 2 results actually. Also, this is a great idea. Looks like Renaud made this, but very quickly into the new forums, a great idea on fast gear swapping. That would be really nice quality of life, not just for Warden, but for other classes as well. It could also save inventory space if it functioned like cosmetics and you could just swap between certain gear sets for, say, tanking versus DPSing on Warden, for example. Anyway, that aside, we can go back to the forums here, which I think is the same as the home. One thing I do notice is well, this logo is actually pretty low quality, but besides that, you can't click it to go back home, and it also seems like they could have some sort of banner there. I know this is very new with the forums, but it's just something that I think could make it a little bit nicer, and maybe they're already planning. That said, if you all have noticed the background, it's the before the shadow wallpaper art that they have, and I actually love that and think it fits really well with the forums. I'm guessing they're going to have something new for the Umbar or Harad expansion, and that will probably go there and hopefully fit just as nicely. But anyway, that's just about all I can think of to actually cover with the forums here. The other thing that I did want to check was my profile. So I basically logged into my game account and then I claimed the name Louis7. Fortunately, it was not already taken, but I'm looking to see how we can adjust my account. It looks like you can actually change your name on maybe a weekly basis, because I can change it on May 10th. But it looks like I can check to receive some news and updates emails, activity summary email if I want that, and then you can get some more options under preferences. Avatar. So at this point, you'll actually get to see some different versions I had of my profile that I use on YouTube, but I'm just going to go ahead and try the same one here. And that seems to be working. It has the nice blue circle around it with the map popping out. I don't know why, but I really like that, which is probably obviously the reason I use that as my avatar. So if people are interested, actually, if you go to the privacy settings, you can uncheck show your online status. It's almost like going anonymous with the forums, kind of like you can in-game. And I think for now I'll just keep all this default, but you do have all those options. It also looks like for preferences, you can check email options, content options, privacy options, and receive notifications when all that sort of stuff happens, and you can set your time zone. You can also add a signature, which I could go ahead and do Louis7, and we will. So added the link to that, and if I open the link there, it does work and go to my channel, so great. And then I am not following anybody right now, but you can see who you're following and ignoring, and then you can also see just your general profile, which is honestly probably where I should have started this. It looks like you can edit your profile banner. Let's try that. Okay, got my good old banner here, and it looks like you can actually change, because it's a really large banner, you can actually drag it around and get to where you want. Unfortunately, I can't zoom it out at this point, but I think that looks okay enough, so we'll go with that. And now we have that dude also there, and it actually works well. It's kind of similar to what I have on Twitter now that I've really used Twitter the past few months. I think that works well enough. I also wonder here for the link to my LOTRO Forums profile, it's Louis7.758. I wonder if the .758 is because I'm like the 758th profile. I should have waited to make this video until I could have gotten 777, or I really should have tried to get .7. I don't even know if that's the case, but yeah, if you just tried /Louis7, it doesn't work. You have to do 758, it looks like. How unfortunate. Also, my banner disappeared. So I believe that was just about everything with the profile. Again, if you just click your little profile icon here, you can get a whole bunch of options. You can even bookmark things, it looks like. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, if I go back to my account, I actually did have a couple extra things here, but it's just alerts, reactions saved, and bookmarks. And I suppose the final thing before we just check out the mobile version is to see if we can make a new post. So if I post thread here, it will give me an option for the subforums that I could post in. And I'm guessing if I go to a specific subforum, like say creator and makerspace here, if I did post thread, I could do Louis7, and then I could talk about Louis7 here, and hopefully not have as many typos, but I will probably not post that now. I don't know, maybe I should make a post like this, but that just seems like too much self-advertising, self-promotion. All right, so it might be a little bit hard to see, but I have my actual phone connected here, and this is my first time actually even seeing the LOTRO Forums on it, so it looks like it's basically the same. So if I just say, go to gameplay discussion here, and then first but also good game, you can see it's actually a lot more legible. And say if I zoom in, you can still zoom in like that. And if I do something crazy like look at my, well, there, my phone just got unplugged. Okay, so my phone got unplugged there, but if I do something crazy like actually look at it, it looks like all the font is legible and seems like it'd be fairly straightforward to navigate. So I think that's actually a really great improvement. I feel like I'm underselling the excitement of it because I probably won't visit the LOTRO Forums on my phone all that much, but it still is a huge improvement for the times that I potentially would. It could be a nice way for me to say preview an update while I'm at work. Also, it looks like there is actually one more piece of news before before we finally finish this video off. It looks like Shadowfax has caught up to the level cap of 140, so it will be closing on May 31st. And then it looks like the permanent closure and everything from the server being deleted will be after August 31st of this year. So if you want to transfer a character off of Shadowfax, make sure you do it before that date and get any of the items or whatever from it. One thing I was actually thinking about doing before Shadowfax closed was to do a speed leveling challenge, basically from level 20 and just wherever I got, maybe for an hour or something, using an XP booster, but I was going to do that when there was a VIP event boost, and it looks like the last one was on 420 and there is not anymore until Shadowfax is closed, so I'm not entirely sure if I will still do that. I was hoping to do that near the closure of the server just for fun. But yeah, let me know if that's something you would still be interested in seeing, even without an extra 100% XP. So overall at this point, I will say I really like the new LOTRO forums, but I have to admit that going to the new LOTRO.com that we got, what was that, early last year if I remember correctly, this already feels outdated compared to the new LOTRO forums. I just like the overall look, and as I mentioned for posts like the public event schedule or even just patch notes, it would be a lot nicer to have those on this format in the forums, I think. And on that note, that should be all that I have. So I hope you all did learn something useful about the new LOTRO forums, and as usual, please let me know your thoughts. I'm curious if you all will maybe participate more or less on the new LOTRO forums, or if you just don't really care and it won't change anything. I might try to be a little bit more active, but I'm honestly not 100% sure. In my almost 13 years of having an old LOTRO forums account, I made like 11 posts. So I honestly at this point don't know if that will change. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching everyone.